Welcome to this ICFslalom podcast episode, part of the series running until the Paris 2024 Games. We bring you the inside stories from around the globe from the people who make canoe slalom so special. Here's your host, John Gregory.
Thanks for joining me for the final podcast episode of a thrilling 2023 season. It sets us up well for a Paris Olympic year. I've long admired Spanish Olympic kayak athlete and coach Guy Diaz-Canedo. He has contributed to many of these podcast episodes, and today we discuss his first new book, which translates into English would likely be Technical Manual of Whitewater, from knowing how to paddle to navigation and fluidity. Here is my conversation with Guy Diaz-Canedo. Guy, well, welcome back to the podcast. I mean, you've had quite a canoeing career already, an Olympian representing Spain in Beijing. You've been a coach for Brazilian, Andorran, Italian and Spanish teams. You're a meta-slalom entrepreneur and analyst and now an author too. Was that planned? How did that journey come about?
No, I mean, I was never planned. I always loved canoeing, for sure. I remember being as a child and not understanding why people quit. Someday I quit, but I didn't understand at the beginning. So I always loved that. I always loved reading and studying and everything I was curious about. So I just followed it, and here I am. I mean, I didn't recall being all those things, but sure, I'm proud of them.
Well, you join a very elite group of Olympic athletes who have now published books specifically on canoeing. So that would be, I think, Scott Shipley, Tony Estanguet and Joe Jacoby. There have been others on cookbooks and various others, but congratulations. How did the idea for the book come about and kind of what motivated you to get involved with it?
I mean, the idea of the book came from a person in the federation. Actually, he's the guy who used to organize the International Coaches Conference in Catoira in Galicia, which is a super interesting congress. I hope it goes on. So he proposed me about editing a book on high performance in canoe slalom. But actually, me and the other coordinator, Christian, thought it could be better before writing one for the highest performance level, to write one that sets up a bridge between the starting canoeing and arriving to the high performance. So it was taking the shape after his proposal. It was taking the shape it's right now, like looking for the authors for the possible chapters. And this is the final shape. It could be better because you always feel like it's midway. At some point you have to publish and think it's good enough.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's the first book. And how long did it take?
I took 2 years. I mean, it's not that we've been 2 years writing for 3 years, but we have a lot of things, Olympics coming on, and all the authors, maybe some of them are coaches, some others are physios. So this is something we had to do on our free time. So making up some time to do it.
Congratulations. So, I mean, your book seems especially timely given the conversations about whitewater recreational paddling in the US and also the current debate in the UK, Gareth Wilson and others, about the number of participants in canoe slalom, kind of against the kind of, I think there's lots of people coming in at the grassroots level into just paddling generally. You've already talked about that bridge between sort of novice and elite. What are you seeing in Spain?
We observe some kind of decreasing in participating levels, especially on clubs or regions where slalom normally there wasn't. There was a great work made by Luis Grau on the early 20s, going through some regions, trying to start the slalom where there wasn't. But after he left, we realized there was a decreasing numbers on that matter. So we started a development project since 2 years already. This one has been pretty positive, having 3 new regions doing canoe slalom already on the Spanish championships for scholars. Next year, we hope that Andalusian and some of the regions from the south join because they are very strong on sprint slalom, and it could be a very good boost. We didn't realize it was like a worldwide matter, as Gaza points, and I think that he's been writing quite a lot about slalom, some insights that are very interesting about this matter and others. So maybe our experience could help on the rest of the world. But I mean, ours is a very, very specific case with a pretty big country, I mean, not in terms of Canada or the US, of course, but inside Europe, and also we are far from the rest of Europe. So every race takes us a lot in terms of road or flights. So I think every case has to be specific to the part where you want to develop slalom or maintaining it, for that matter.
I think you said that there seems to be quite a lot of people still coming into sprint. The sprint is very strong in Spain.
Yes, Spain has it's amazing. First time I was in Winter Spanish Championships in Seville back in 2019. I was already in the Spanish Federation as national coach for slalom. I was amazed. I mean, those championships is just for 5,000 meters, and there were so many people. There were so many shops like for boats and clothes and everything. It seemed for me it was like a slalom World Cup. There was TV, there was a lot of people cheering, and it was in March, so I didn't usually see that involvement in canoeing. And then I learned that just in Seville there's 6 clubs for canoeing. In whole Spain there's like 300 clubs. So there's a lot of people paddling. I mean, since I live in Seville, I joined a club which is just for master age, and they are like 300 people.
Okay, but sprint specific.
In canoeing sprint. Yeah, only for sprint and only for masters.
Okay, so let's go back to the book. So Mikel Trave on the cover. Now, I believe that you specifically wrote chapter 1 and then chapter 6. The latter on the technical development of slalom. I mean, that seems to draw very much on your expertise as an athlete, a kayak athlete, a coach, and everything you do in terms of analysis as well. Do you want to expand on some of those themes or messages, maybe in that chapter and the book as a whole?
Sure. I had the project of writing this chapter about the slalom technique. It seems like a big thing to do, as you can speak about so many things, and there's no so many books out there where you can base your. I mean, I sure wanted to be to have some foundations, not just making up everything. I'm sure I should know a lot about slalom, as every paddler or every coach does. But one total other thing is putting it in words and in a book, and then knowing that everybody else is going to read it and maybe judge it. So I wanted to have some foundation. So I started looking for a lot of books, especially on French, because Spanish slalom is super based on French canoeing, thanks to Prono and our early paddlers who look into French because are the neighborhood. Then I started looking for other books from the UK. I used also Scotch Ipley book. I mean, I tried to look as much as I want. But then after I had the bibliography, I wanted to put off some of my preferences in canoe slalom. So one of the things I tried the most to include on our trainings is decision-making orientation. So I thought slalom sometimes would be very different from canoe sprint in terms of that it's not that technical. Even if we went to think that we are super technical, we are not that technical. I mean, we don't need to do a super right stroke in terms of biomechanical analysis, maybe, but also the right stroke on the right moment. And that we can see that, and that in an upstream can be on a sweep stroke, on an in stroke. It depends on the situation you are on the type of paddler who you are, not on the biomechanical point of view. So that means that decision making has a lot to do. So that was one of my main points about it. And the other one was the opposite, that being very technical, explaining technique from the base, actually from physical terms like center of gravity and how it relates to the balance base, as we can say, and how this relation between where your gravity center falls, we call it sustation base in Spain. I don't know how it translates, but I think the relation between these two concepts are very important in slalom. How a paddler needs to play, which is his center of gravity, and creating a suspension base under it. Once this gravity center falls off, then there's no balance, then there's no flowing of the boat. I try to focus on these two things, and then from there, explaining every basic move in a slalom and the variations, base points you need to accomplish to get it done. And also what I very proud of is the illustrations I managed to do, like photographing a move, or like, for example, an offset or an upstream from a drone, and then getting every frame of the trajectory, because I started drawing the trajectories and I'm not a very good drawer, so I had to come up with something more technological and with more definition, and I'm pretty proud how it come. And that's the chapter. The other chapter I wrote, it was about group management in canoeing, how the coach has to manage their group, has to focus on the technical part, but also being the education part, the management part from the club or the federation, most of the things I've been doing lately.
I had seen the composite drone photography. I thought that was very clever. I'm not really surprised coming from you. You can see your very technical and analytical kind of nature coming through that chapter, but nicely done. What are you hoping the book will do or achieve?
I hope it establishes some kind of reference in canoeing in Spain, like a tool coaches can use when they have a doubt or when they want to construct their own book. I mean, I started the book on the introduction saying that there's a saying in Spain that goes, every teacher has their own book. So I started the book saying that every one of us has their own. So this book is a tool to make yours. So I hope every coach that is starting, or maybe that is in advanced level but wants to find something more, has this tool, and also that it creates a common language in Spain. I was a teacher for some coaching courses. I've been a coach of so many people, and I realized that many times the main thing is about communication and having the same vocabulary and understanding the same thing. So I hope this book help create that.
Okay, well, congratulations. I'm sure there's more books in you, so we look forward to I don't know, your second and third book in time. I know they take a long time to produce. So what was your high point this year?
Of course, my highest point of the year or my life was the born of my son, Hugo, which is already 5 months. And, nothing beats that. But in terms of canoeing, of course, we get the full Olympic spot quota, the four spots in Lee Valley, which might seem easy afterwards, but it creates a lot of tension. We had, we know because I wasn't here, but Spain had a major, not breakdown, but almost getting only one spot back in 2015. That kind of thing sometimes stays on the collective memory. And it was a big milestone for us since we started this cycle. So that one was a one major. But, at the same level of having grown as a structure in Spain, as a team, I'm very happy how the team behaves. They are doing an actual teamwork, not only a sum of individual efforts, but they are doing a pretty good team effort. And also what I was saying about development project. I mean, having started slalom on some different regions in Spain and having the project to start some others, it's almost as rewarding as the Olympic sport or a possible medal next year. Who knows?
Yeah, I know it's the long-term legacy, isn't it? So talking of next year, what are you looking forward to in 2024?
In terms of the high performance, I just want Spain or Spanish paddlers to be able to compete in every race, not giving their best level. So we are in finals, so we are hoping for the medals, and then it will depend on that day, on the inspiration they have. But bringing them to the finals, that would be enough, and seeing them fighting for every medal, being in the Olympics or the World Cups or the European Championships, that will be our goal. And also keep growing the development project and see, especially on Andalusian region, which since my son is born here, personally I would love to see slalom here, because if not, otherwise my son will have to paddle sprint canoe, and we have to avoid that.
Okay, so we're hoping that your son will be a future elite level canoe slalom athlete, I guess in like 19-20 years time.
Yeah, we'll see. If he's happy doing that, then he will be welcome.
Okay, so final question for me. Where can people get hold of this book?
I mean, just go to the Spanish website. There's a part called Buy the Books. There's no mistake. And there's the instructions how to do it there. Could be hard to send it to foreign countries, but we'll manage. In any case, contact me and we'll find a way, maybe by mail or in some races, and we'll see a way. But first, try on the Spanish Federation website.
Okay, yeah, you'll have to bring a box of books to each of the World Cup races. Anyway, congratulations on doing it. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your work also, because I think spreading the word in canoeing is very important. We are a little world, and everyone sharing their knowledge, it's more than welcome. So thank you to you too.
That was Spanish technical coach Guy Diaz-Canedo talking to us from Seville, Spain. He's the author of the new book in Spanish on a technical manual of Whitewater. Find a link in the show notes. Thanks to my guest today, Guy Diaz-Canedo. This year we have included contributions from 65 different guests across 20 episodes. Such fascinating stories. Thank you all for shaping this podcast and bringing the people behind canoe slalom to life. I've really appreciated the feedback from many of you and specific pointers on how to make the podcast even better. Through each of this season's episodes, including the daily episodes from the Lee Valley Worlds, Aidan Johnson has helped us enhance the quality of the audio output. Thanks, Aidan. See you on the bank next season as we prepare for the Olympics in Paris. Stay safe.
That's it for now, but please subscribe to the podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Audible. And please don't forget to share and leave a review too. In the meantime, keep it fast and clean.